All right, we are gathered once again to discuss about sporting stories on today's edition of the program Scroeboard Reloaded, right here on 32 FM 94.9, the station that fills the air with laughter. Well, surely we know that this is the first time we will see the playoffs of the UEFA Champions League. When I say playoffs, we know that teams have qualified for the round of 16, but they still need 8 teams to join the already qualified 8 teams from the league phase of the UEFA Champions League. So 16 teams are slugging it out, or are going to slug it out to pick up the tickets to be in the UEFA Champions League round of 16. Well, first we have games set to go down today, and for those 4 games set to go down today, Brest against Paris Saint-Germain. That's the first time in which French sides are facing themselves in the knockout phase of the UEFA Champions League. Juventus against PSV Eindhoven, Sporting against Borussia Dortmund, and then the biggest one, seemingly Manchester City against Real Madrid. Well, I listened to this morning while Peter was on the show, and it has been said that whichever side in the last 3-4 years gets the victory between Manchester City or Real Madrid, they go on to win the UEFA Champions League. And Real Madrid, they've done that on 3 different occasions. Manchester City just once. So later tonight, in a bid to qualify for the round of 16, both sides would face off against each other. And we know that the conversation definitely has been surrounding the Ballon d'Or that went down last year. Still reactions from managers, that's Pep Guardiola as well as Carlo Ancelotti. But we will further take a listen to the words of Pep Guardiola on the show this afternoon. And outside football stories, we also discuss about the world of NBA. Jersey number 23, jersey number 77. Well, at the point in which Luka Doncic scored a point, it was 100 in the third quarter for the that's the LA Lakers in their game just in the early hours of today. And it was really an interesting atmosphere where every fan in attendance of that game got a jersey of Luka Doncic. That's jersey number 77. And of course, we also take a listen to the words of that man who left the Dallas Mavericks to join with the LA Lakers. How it felt like to be on the team and also playing his first game in the colors of the LA Lakers. And then we also come home to talk about African football, Nigerian football stories. So these and so many more we have lined up for us on today's edition of the program. But definitely first I want to ask Peter, how excited are you with that's a return? It's a fraction, but a return of the UEFA Champions League. This is the playoffs. On a normal or on a good day, we should have the round of 16 games go down. But first, we are set to experience the playoffs of the UEFA Champions League. Good afternoon, Peter.
Afternoon. Thank you for having me on this side. SAMIES, excited? No, I'm not. Just getting to understand all of these UEFA Champions League formats. And like I said in the morning, it would be so sad to see 2 giants, so to say, because I don't want to totally agree that City are giants in European football. You can have a different opinion, but I don't think they are there yet. Good enough, my argument was made possible or backed up by Pep himself when he said during the press conference that you can't compare them with Real Madrid, with Bayern Munich, AC Milan, and Football Club Barcelona because they are not there yet. They've got just 1 Champions League, so I don't think in that order. But I also spoke in the morning about the rivalry. I'll come to that in a minute. But to your question, SAMIES, I don't think I'm happy about this. If you take a look at the number of clubs who are in this playoff, you'll find out that most of them have won the Champions League at the point in time. There's Dortmund here, there's AC Milan here, there's Real here, there's Manchester City here. OS again, you go on and give me more names and I'll tell you how many they've won. There's Juventus Football Club here. And then I know PSG haven't won, so I don't want to put them in this equation. Yeah, so I just begin to wonder, how did you get to this point? Because if care is not faking, you cannot expect the shock. What if Stade Brest beat PSG on the 2 leg? So you're going to see Brest, with all due respect to them, and not see the household name of Paris Saint-Germain. What if Sporting beat Dortmund? So you begin to see if the if comes up. So for me, I don't like this format, but with time, like they say, I'll come to understanding that it is what it is. Carlo Ancelotti said yesterday that, and the question to him was, how did we get to this point where we have to see these two teams play in this stage? And he said, for them, they cost it. Don't forget, they lost one of their biggest game against AC Milan at home by 3-1. They lost to the lowly rated Mille Metropole of France in the north of France by 0-0. And of course, we know what Liverpool did to them at Anfield. So 3 games they did not win from 8. And so here they are at the moment playing City. So it's all to go down for. Form is nothing to compare in this one. It's nothing to write home about for these two teams. And like I said in the morning, yes, Real topped the table in the La Liga, but have they been convincing? You can make excuses. Carlo Ancelotti says it's not time for excuses, that they've got a couple of players, first starters out injured. And for City, on the other hand, good enough yesterday. The pictures that rolled in, we saw how everybody, apart from maybe 1 or 2 players out, the others, they are involved in this one. Put aside what happened, how they managed to get their win against Lorient in the FA Cup. Aside, they're going to the game tonight. And I don't know, maybe I'll ask this question to you, SAMIES. Whatever happened to City tonight, maybe they get the win over 2 legs. Will that change the course of the season for them? Is that what they need? Because we know how they've struggled against the big side. So if they get to beat Real over 2 legs, would that change something in the dressing room of Manchester City? I mean, that's a question I'll probably put out there.
Well, we definitely want to see how that will go. But to that question, definitely I would respond, but not now. So let's take a listen to the words of a manager. That's Pep Guardiola speaking about the encounter with Real Madrid. And I listened this morning, Roy, talk about a rivalry. Is this the biggest of this age? Well, for me, it has to be no. But you look at what football definitely has come by now. Well, I'll still pick the El Clasico as one of the biggest games. And then you pick Liverpool against the Manchester United.
No. Not in that order, SAMIES. Not in that order. In the context of where it's not about the local rivalry. Yeah. When you say Real play against Bayern, that is a big game. You call that a rivalry, not. If you say AC Milan, Real Madrid, and then you take the El Clasico to the Champions League, that is a proper rivalry, not City against
That's a
Real.
one-time Champions League winner against the 15-time winners.
And how many times have they
even been in the final? Semi-finals.
So you begin to say, over the years when the new guys came into City, they brought City over. That was why we found them here where they are. Not that they have their way in terms of the sporting part of it. We know how money injection have helped them. So in all of this, I say that this is not, maybe because it's a Pep Guardiola that is in charge. Maybe if City were changing managers, probably we would say it's a different ballgame entirely. But hey, for me, I think it's not rivalry. But Pep, I don't know why I was saying this earlier, but you take a listen to Pep Guardiola.
I would say in the last years, yes. We play 8 times, 4 times together. We have good results, bad results. But we won 4, draw 3, lost 1, but at the end it was 2-2 go through. So in terms of the last decade, years, yeah, maybe, because it's not normal to play in the same rival all the time. But in terms of history, Champions League, at the end we cannot compare, to be honest. So against Madrid or Bayern Munich or Barcelona or Milan or this time of groups, elite groups that we have not been from the history, In the last decade we have been around, but of course in the last years is I don't know, the draw all the times we play against them. There are few clubs in Europe that for the history, for everything, always it doesn't matter where. In a group stage, on the knockout stage, always is difficult. We have not done, I would say, quite well in group stage, so we deserve to be that we are. So the draw is the draw, and accept the challenge.
Now, Pat, as you mentioned.
All right, they listen to the words of Pep Guardiola, accepting the challenge. And off the mic, we were discussing about, the squad size and also the ability of the players left for both sides. Yes, like you said, for Manchester City, we had that's Ederson Morai back in training, Jeremy Doku, new signing Nico Gonzalez also back in training, and then Kashanov, the young star from Uzbekistan, is doing so well for himself. And then you can say maybe it's almost a fully fit Manchester City squad compared to Real Madrid. How many recognized defenders do they have? Rudiger, still in doubt. You have Aurelien Tchouameni, who is going to debutize as a centre-back.
Yeah.
Then you have the likes of David Alaba also still out.
Dani Carvajal
is out. Lucas Vazquez is not sure if he's even going to play.
He's not going to play.
And so then you look at the squad size for Real Madrid. On a good day, if both sides were to be at 100%, maybe a lot of people will give it to Manchester City. But at this side, Manchester City, they have the upper hand against Real Madrid. But which side do you see the game turning out to be later tonight?
You know, I think City have got the advantage. The question is just there. I know football is played on the pitch over 180 minutes or thereabouts. If we have to go extra time, don't forget there's no away goal. City have got their players back, but you can't say that for the multiple-time UEFA Champions League winner. Yeah, so I think if City don't take advantage of this moment, I don't know. Real don't have the regular centre-back. Tchouameni is not registered as a centre-back. He's registered as a midfielder. There's Raul Asensio, the young boy who's just getting playing time ahead of the other Spanish defender. Remember his name now, Vallejo. But yeah, ahead of Vallejo. And so you begin to say, what do they do? Right back, Dani Carvajal is out for the rest of the season. Lucas Vazquez, his deputy, will miss the game. He will be out for about 10, 15 or 20 days. And so they have to make do with Federico Valverde as right back. And then you have to see the act of Daniel Ceballos, Luka, Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, the only midfielders that they have. Yes, I know that you want to mention Adagula and, of course, Brahim Diaz. But in terms of the experience, these names are mentioned. So can they really go and play this much in terms of the game time on their hands? I think for Carlo Ancelotti, he knows that this is a tough one for him. He's a manager, so we'll wait to see how he gets to manage this side for the game tonight. For Pep, like you said, the who and who are back for City tonight. So like I said to you off the mic, if this was the other way around, Real would tear City apart. So now that it's this way, I'm expecting City to tear Real apart. If they don't do this, then I begin to ask questions. So who are you going to beat when you have the Real Madrid depleted side with players out injured? Not even suspension now. These players are out injured. So I just want to see how they go about it. Pep spoke about Real's frontline men, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, how dangerous they can be. Yes, I quite agree with that these boys, on their day, they're unstoppable. And to think that Real had the Madrid derby over the weekend where they exhausted so much time on that game. Carlo Ancelotti didn't make any change on the 80th minute of that game. So it says a lot about these players, how many games they've played, unlike City who got a few players out, a few players in. So for me, SAMIES, I think it's a game for Pep to win. If he does not win this one, then I don't know what's going to happen because it's just his game. It's his game. He should just go ahead and kill it off for Carlo Ancelotti, manage it, see if they can get a fair result, go back to Bernabeu and see maybe the fans can help them get a ticket. But like I said the other time, this game at this point in time, I don't like it.
Well, one thing I would look out for in that encounter later today is just the reaction from the players on the field of play. Remember that there was that controversial decision or talk, a conversation surrounding that the Ballon d'Or, rightful Ballon d'Or winner. That was between Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. So Rodrigo won't be in action because he's out injured. But I saw pictures of him back in the gym in Miami. Well, he's doing that.
He's in the US.
Well, he's in the US.
Okay.
But we'll see how that would also pan out for the citizens. But Vinicius Jr. once again will have something to prove against Manchester City.
That's true.
And when the world is watching.
Yeah, and Carlo also spoke about him yesterday. during the press conference. Have you seen the best, or have you seen, yes, the best of Vinicius this year, 2025? I haven't. But Pep said, you know what, he saved the best for the last. So the occasion is big. Let's say tonight, 9 at the Etihad Stadium. He says Vinicius will come good. I know you were here making a kind of narrative that what if Carlo Ancelotti benched Vinicius for the Madrid derby? And I know how the way myself and Blessing came at you. We are going to tear you apart for that thought. But tonight, we'll wait to see. Maybe it's going to be the ninth for Vinicius Junior. The who and who are on display tonight. The English media were trying to make it look like it's Kylian Mbappe against Haaland, but he sits against Real. Yes, we know these poster boys, the star boys, that you want to see them take the headline after the game tonight. Maybe it might just be the little detail that will just solve this whole thing. Maybe a goal from an unlikely source might just be...
Let's not count the young boy. Well, he's no longer young, Rodrigo.
No,
who actually built a name for himself against Manchester City.
Rodrigo is not young now. I would have been surprised if it was a different name entirely, but Rodrigo, no, he isn't. And you know how many times you have scored against Manchester City?
Yeah, against Manchester City.
I can count 3 in my head now. Might be wrong, but I know it's nothing less than that he has scored against the English champion. So we wait to see tonight. It's all to play for. Where will the strength be for me? It's going to be in that middle. Well, I think there's nobody missing, so to say, for both sides. Nico Gonzalez, the boy they signed from Porto. Yeah, for Real. Who's
Rodri? Why you say both sides?
Well, okay, Rodri is missing, but
Rodri single-handedly won the Champions League for Manchester City.
And Rodri was in that team when they lost last season to Real. So I know that Rodri will be the biggest name missing, but we've gone past that now because he's not just missing because of this game. He has missed so many games.
But now the thing about this fixture is looking at the level of players. Yes, how Manchester City also they've struggled to keep that's a clean sheet this season, and then you are going against the force of that's Vinicius Junior, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and then Rodrigo. Can they keep a clean sheet? Yes. One statistics I think everybody needs to know is Manchester City, in all of the games they've played in the Champions League this season, they've not conceded in the first 30 minutes. But can that narrative, can that change later tonight? Let's cross our fingers.
But they've considered in the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes of games.
Last 10 minutes.
And
last 5 minutes.
Let me also put it on record that Real Madrid, except when they are down and out, but when they are pushing for games, you see the best of them in the last 15 minutes of games. So if it's 2-1 in favor of Manchester City, you probably see the best of Real. If it's 1-1, you can see the best. You can go check. These records are there, except when they are down, unlike what happened to them in the El Clasico, the Super Copa final, when Barca was tearing them apart in that game. You know that one they were down and out. But if they are still in the game, they have a cost to be in the game, they will come. So if City have not considered in the first 30 minutes, maybe that will change tonight.
Well, definitely. This is why we love discussing about the Champions League, why we like the Champions League. Well, we've spent so much time discussing Manchester City, Real Madrid. But then, for Sporting against Borussia Dortmund, post Ruben Amorim, Sporting, they've not won a game of the UEFA Champions League. That's 4 games. 3 defeats, 1 draw. And then you look at Borussia Dortmund, who also started their Champions League campaign on a high. They defeated Celtic, Karim Adeyemi scoring a hat-trick in that game. In their second game, I think they went on to win. But then you look at how they also finished the Champions League and where they are presently, understanding of the German Bundesliga, it is not the best for them. But these 2 attacking sides also go head-to-head against each other later tonight. What do you expect from this game? But for me, if you ask me, I'm really worried about Sporting. For Serhou Guirassy, he has had a goal involvement in all 8 games he has played in the Champions League for Borussia Dortmund.
And for Sporting, they will miss their captain, Højlund. In this one, is out, suspended. You mentioned Dortmund with the new coach, 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐿.
Yes.
The Croat, away from home. You talk about Sporting not being the same Sporting under Ruben Amorim, but you check where they are on the log of the Portuguese league. They're doing well with their new manager. It's a new chapter. This is like you are saying second chance. It's what this playoff is all about. It's second chance. If not, all these teams by now should have been out. Sporting finished in the 23rd or 22nd thereabouts where they finish on the top of the log. Dortmund were just managing and just keeping the momentum for them to get into the playoff zone. And but here we are, two teams, like I said, it's a second chance. And so they have the second chance. And we just wait to see what they will offer. Like you mentioned the other time, Sporting haven't been convincing. They haven't. We saw how Arsenal got to Lisbon and they won that game by 5-1. But now we wait to see what they will do at home against Dortmund, who are struggling. Maybe at the point in time, Dortmund will have to consider what they really want to do this season. Do they go ahead and push more? It all depends on the result tonight. If the defeat they suffer in Lisbon tonight is very heavy, then I think Kovac should just go second leg and see what they can do, and then put more attention, or pay more attention rather, on the league, on how to finish
But
well.
this is a side that
league.
reached the finals at the Wembley last season.
Things have changed. The other guys who also won, where are they as we speak? Two teams that were playing in the final in Wembley about 6 months or 8 months ago, where are they as we speak? They are in the playoff. You don't see them in the top 8. These are teams. So not even those two. How about the 4 semi-finalists for last year's UEFA Champions League? Bayern were playing Real. Dortmund were playing against Paris Saint-Germain. I'm right about that. So check where these 4 are as we speak. Those 4 are in the playoff, not even in the top 8 where they're waiting for the other 8 to join them in the round of 16. So it goes to show you things have changed from that moment till now. Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, and Bayern. Look at where they are. They're going through the playoff.
All right, we have other games also scheduled for today. That's Brest against Paris Saint-Germain. Like I said, this is the first outing. French oppositions will be facing each other in the UEFA Champions League. Juventus also under Thiago Motta would be up against PSV Eindhoven. I think they played in the group phase, and that's in the league phase. But they would be up against each other once again. Now, so quickly, let's move away from football stories and then go straight into that the NBA. Well, where we go to the NBA games that went down in the early hours of today. Steph Curry. Well, you can tell that this man keeps going stronger in his game, age 36, and you could tell that he keeps delivering in everything he does. But there was one man who definitely was the highlight. All eyes were on him. That's talking about Luka Doncic. Well, for Luka Doncic in the early hours of today, he had the game also for himself. But Steph Curry, like I said, he became the 4th player ever to score 30-plus points in 4 consecutive games at the age of 36 years. He joins LeBron James, Karl Malone, and Michael Jordan to attain that height. But for Luka Doncic, let's take a listen to what he has to say about what it feels like playing for the LA Lakers.
How did it feel to play in a Laker uniform?
Special, man. The way they received me, everybody, teammates, front office, everybody here. I heard a lot of noise when I was introduced, so I really appreciate it. It was a special moment.
What was the message from JJ, LeBron, and your teammates to you today?
Be you, simple, be you.
And we saw that Dirk Nowitzki was in the house here to support you today. What does that mean to have him here?
It means a lot. Great friend, great mentor. So it really means a lot that he was able to show up here. I'll see him now, but it really means a lot.
And then lastly, I know you guys still have to get comfortable with each other. Certainly it's only your first game. But how dangerous can this team be?
Very dangerous. I think the ball was moving very well on offensive end. I think we can lock down a lot of players. So I was just happy to be on the court again, man.
How did it feel to play?
All right, then listen to the words of Luka Doncic. They're speaking about the game he had in the early hours of today against the Utah Jazz. 132-113, they won against the Utah Jazz. The Denver Nuggets also were in action against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Dallas Mavericks lost to the Sacramento Kings. And then for the GSWs, they defeated Giannis Antetokounmpo's Milwaukee Bucks 125-111. But this is how far we can go in today's edition of the program. We'll come later tomorrow, Scroeboard in 15 by 7:45 to give you the updates from the games of the UEFA Champions League set to go down later tonight, as well as the 5th round encounter between Exeter Town and Nottingham Forest in the English FA Cup. Till we meet tomorrow, I am SAMIES, your sports captain. Do a good rest of the day, and bye for now.